perfect timing for me to pass the baton to Praveen. He's going to talk a little bit about the phone call we got in October and what we've been doing since then.
Before Praveen starts, can I just say on behalf of the Grotto, which I'm the designated spokesperson,
handsomest too.
Thank you to Christin and Praveen for everything, be quiet for a second, everything that they've done for the Grotto. We had an event last night at the Booksmith. When people ask me my favorite bookstore in San Francisco, I say it's the Booksmith. Like, you guys have been single-handedly better for author book tours and launches than any bookstore that I am aware of in San Francisco.
And they help promote the classes, too.
And they help promote the classes. So you're not just coming into lunch here. This is like a family reunion.
Thank you.
It's a friendly audience.
I don't know if Christin already talked about the time, I think it was almost 5 years ago when we were here for the first time. Did you talk about that? Yeah. So it does feel like, that was kind of the beginning of a relationship. Right? And here we are, one big happy family. So where are we? And what are we talking about?
So I basically talked about event innovation and buying the bookstore, remodeling it, making it a really wonderful browsing experience.
Right.
And then I introduced that we've got an events program idea plus a bookstore idea going down in the peninsula now.
Okay.
An October phone call. That's where you began.
Yes.
An October phone call. Okay. So the October phone call, from Menlo Park was basically, hey, business isn't doing too well. Doesn't look like we're going to make it. And we're hearing great things about what you guys are doing up at Booksmith and Berkeley Arts and Letters, and do you have some time to come down and take a look at what's going on at Kepler's and see if you want to get involved with them. And and that was the day I feel like I basically went down and had coffee with Clark Kepler, who we know well. I mean good acquaintance, friend, and when he was talking about potentially having to liquidate the business, and the fact that the sales have been declining has been difficult, and most people kind of know that. Most people who know Kepler's kind of aware of that. Just kind of looking at empty shelves and not having enough books in the store, and forwardly sign outside the store, and so on. And the little kind of backstory about Kepler's is that I used to live in Menlo Park when back when I was kind of doing my Silicon Valley job, and Christin and I actually had our first date in Menlo Park. and Kepler's was the bookstore where I lived just a few blocks from Kepler's, and I feel like that was the bookstore where I discovered my love for independent bookstores, and really understood for the first time what an independent bookstore is and what it means to a community. So it's always been a place that kind of like near and dear to my own heart. And when I heard Clark talking about that business has been doing well and we're not going to make it, I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. You can't. I mean, Kepler is like this is an Andy Ross quote. It's like Yosemite National Park. You can't close down Yosemite National Park and fade away into the sunset without telling anyone. You just don't do that. So I feel like that was the day, basically, I kind of stuck myself in front of the train and said, no way, you're not going anywhere, and let's figure out, how we can keep this going. And then one of the most amazing things has been that, there's just such a strong community of people down there in, on the peninsula who really, really love this bookstore, and they really wanted to keep going. And people just, as they start finding out, they just start showing up and saying, how can I help? And so now I look back, and it's only been like a couple of months, and Frank knows that because he's been following this all along. And there's just all kinds of people from the community who step forward and who are working with us to basically on this new plan, on this new vision for keeping Kepler's going, and that's just been like the most mind-blowing aspect of this experience in the last 2 months. I mean sometimes I have to remind myself, hey, it's just a little bookstore. It's just 4 walls, and you just take books inside. What's the big deal? And then you look at all the passion these people have, and all the really animated conversations we are having about when are we going to do this and when are we going to do that. And in just like a little under 2 months, we've gone to a point where so many people care so strongly about it. that I'm more and more confident by the day that we can pull this off and keep Kepler going.
So what are you going to pull off?
Hey, I didn't know that was an interview.